And welcome to Milano, both to the guests who join our live event at the Fuorisalone Ventura district and those connected online. We started with the tour Giro d'Italia of events in March from Rome, moved to Cortina in April, Florence in May, and Bari in June, to arrive today in Milan during the Salone del Mobile. The main goals in these 5 stops have been to present new projects, projects in the pipeline and in the new measure to support the hospitality sector. I would like to thank our travel partners, Paolo Bertagni and Laura Dominici, who represent About Hotel, Monica Badin by Work Capital for the Italian Real Estate Hotels Value Report, Andrea Delfini by Blasne for Tourist Barometer and for the Champagne. And in particular today, I would like to thank Michael Widman and Simone Micheli, the 2 creators and promoters of this unique event. And thanks to all the important speakers join us. Thanks to our partners for support us, important companies and groups that best represent the tourism and hospitality supply chain in Italy. We have also an important attendance of Italian hotel groups as Gruppo Una, TH, St. Jane, HNH, LHM, PPN, and hotel brand as Radisson, Marriott, Meliá, Hilton, Best Western, Ruby, Accor, NH, Ramada, plus ICA and RICS Association for their support. Thanks to all participants, over 600 people, of whom only 300 live due to COVID restriction. This year, we have an important news. As a marketplace in collaboration with the NI projects, with over 20 projects in the city, mountain, countryside, and seaside. Some important developments by PKF present our boutique hotel in Milano, airport hotel in Orio Serio is a Milan Bergamo airport, luxury and lifestyle country hotel in Tuscany and Umbria, Adamello Mountain Wellness Resort and Chalet, Parco dei Trulli in Apulia, lifestyle and co-living in Trieste. In Italy, we have at the moment in pipeline over 100 hotels that show the interest of national and international investors and operators towards the main cities, the Big Four, and also the alternative destination. I'm happy to announce an important project in Valtellina, my wonderful valley, that is preparing for the Winter Olympic Games 2026. Thank you, and I give the floor to Michael Wittmann, Managing Director of PKF Hospitality Group, that will explain us the new brand, the new name, and the new idea and concept about our events, not only in Milan, but also the rest of Europe.
Grazie. Grazie, Giorgio. Zitti e buoni. Renzo Piano's marvelous bridge in Genova. A prime minister who knows what he's doing. An investment boom in hospitality in Italy. We are not used to so many good news from Italy. I believe we are at the beginning of a glorious age for Italy, at least in our sector. I'm 35 years with PKF. I've never ever seen such an interest in the Italian marketplace. It is amazing, and it's not just the crazy fans of Italy. It's institutional investors. It is the flavor of the month, but it can be more than that. We all know how backward part of the tourism and hospitality infrastructure is in Italy. It survived for so long because Italy is such a beautiful country with good food and design and everything. But now I think it's a chance to really do what we always hope we can do for the last decades. So I think Italy always was an unfulfilled promise. But now I think it's a time to realize and to take advantage of this momentum. So don't screw it. we have to make the best out of it. And for me personally, it is a very emotional and exciting moment. Those of you who know me know that we have an office in Italy, not because it was profitable over the last 20 years. It was because I wanted to have an excuse to come to Italy. But now suddenly the Italian office is our most profitable office worldwide. It's of course because of Giorgio and his team, but it's also because the market has changed. And this is something I know a lot of Italians who are very critical of their own country. I think now it's a moment to be proud of it and of so many positive things. Of course, not everything is perfect in no country of the world, but I think the momentum is on the side of Italy. So we are very happy about that, and also to meet people in person again. You know, the very fact it's nice, it's great, and Corona is not over, but I think long term, Corona will be a little side note of history. I mean, there are other issues like climate change or so, which probably are more pressing in the long term. But now let's also take this opportunity to be happy, to enjoy the possibilities of collaboration. And in this spirit, in the last 16 months, which were disastrous for a hospitality investment company, as you can imagine. Yeah. So at the end of last year, I wasn't sure, can we keep all the team on board? We never fired a single employee in the last 20 years. But before you go bankrupt, you would have to do the ultima ratio. But now the swing is back, and we want to take this opportunity, and we use the time also partially to do the same thing as you all did. We started to reinvent ourselves. And in the event space, we are here, not least because where's Simone? He's always so shy in the background. No. We have been doing this event, and I think you can all imagine that this year you cannot make money with such an event. Yeah, but we wanted to keep the momentum alive, and we wanted to use the time to partially reinvent ourselves in the event sphere as well. And we have rebranded this event, and I want to show you first a short video before I explain a little bit more what the thinking was behind that. So, Giorgio, can we see a little background why this event is now called 196 Plus Forum? I just noticed the video doesn't explain why 196 plus events is called 196 plus events, because there are 196 countries in the world, according to the United Nations, and at least 2 countries which are mostly accepted by all other member states, plus there are several territories. And we see hospitality and tourism as a truly global industry. And so we want to use this platform also as a platform for international collaboration. This year, it's mostly Italian guests because of travel restrictions. But from next year onward, we want to make this event really the European and even global meeting place for design, architecture, lifestyle in the hospitality sphere. And in this context, I would like to not only thank Giorgio and his team. Sonia is here next to me. but also our event team, Sebastian, Sebastian, Laura, Elisabetta, several others. We have also a new partner in the PKF accounting sphere. Barbara is here, so PKF also offers accounting and tax services. So it is something where we want to build up with you and with your help. So if you have any good ideas, we want this to make a real good thing to happen. This year, we also want to make it, of course, as a nice event, but the idea is to really create something unique here. Hopefully, this place will survive a little bit longer. As you can imagine, the investment pressure on these places is high. So overall, as I mentioned before, the hospitality sector is reawakening after the COVID crisis, but there are differences. Some sectors are doing better than others. No secret that the meeting industry, the large meeting and conference hotels are having more difficulty. On the other hand, the resort sector is booming from a guest perspective, but also from an investment perspective. Lifestyle is still very important, that new hotel projects are flavored with a sexiness and with a hipness, which makes life difficult for existing but boring hotels. So we are in a constantly evolving process, and these tectonic changes is a topic we want to focus on this event today. From that point of view, mille grazie, sono molto felice di essere qui. Per me è un luogo con molto cuore, con molto, come si dice, simpatia. I'm grateful to Giorgio and his team for putting this all together, to Paolo Bertani, to Simone Michele, and everybody who was involved, and not the least to the few sponsors, including good champagne here, who makes this all happen. So I spoke enough. I hope I deserve a glass of bubbly now, and I leave the whole event
Michael,
now in your
just
hand.
maybe a few words about the next events in Munich and Vienna. Just
good that you remind me. I even noted down that I don't screw up, but I did screw up. We have the next event as a 196 Plus Forum in Munich on the 13th of October. So it's in conjunction with Expo Real. Like this event is like with Salone del Mobile. So if you want to have an excuse to come to Munich, even though Oktoberfest is closed, but we'll have a cold beer for you, 13th of October. We still have, I think, only 20 tickets left because we have a limitation of 150 guests. And on the 29th of November, we have a big event in Vienna. And there we can combine it a little bit with a visit to the Christmas market. And finally, in a little bit more than half a year, we will have the next 196 Plus Forum in Milan, which tentatively scheduled on the 12th of April.
That's right.
As far as I know. So a lot of things are going on, yeah, I think we're all sick and tired of Zoom and Teams. Networking online is very difficult. You can do some training, some teaching online, but networking is impossible. So if you have any hotel projects and you want to speak to us, we are here happy to discuss. And Giorgio will now guide us through the rest of the program, I guess. Thank you, Giorgio.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. Now I give you the floor to Filippo Barberis, please. The Councillor of the Municipality of Milano, engaged in important relaunch of the destination that represent the capital of design in the world. Michael said, Italy is back. I said, Milano is back. Please.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Giorgio. And thank you, Simone, Michele, for the invitation. Not just for the invitation, but also thinking about what you have done here in a strategic point for the Fuori Salone, in a special edition of Fuori Salone, the Super Salone of this year, that has been something absolutely not easy to organize. We were very close to skip the edition of this year. And all the partner, all the sector of hospitality of our community, of our territory, also beyond the administrative border of Milan, have required to have this event. And has been not sure the response, also thinking about number, but we can say in those first days of the event that the number are going well. Also in Fiera Milano, and also thinking about the degree of saturation of hotels room. We have to remember that the hospitality has been a sector that after Expo 2015 has grown a lot. The leisure touristic stream is improved the double compared to the business stream to Milan. We have to retake this path of growth, knowing that the last 18 months has been maybe one of the worst for the sector in the last decades, with fall of income over the 80% and fall of touristic stream also over the 85%. We have to work on different level. We have already worked on trying to help the operator, thinking about how to reduce fixed cost, thinking about taxes like IMU, like COSAP, like TARI, that could have not been paid as in a normal year, but this is not enough. We need a strategy to try to match the interest that our country is arising in the next months, thinking that we have to provide occasion of coming to Milan. So the event season is restarting. Salone, Super Salone is just the first occasion. Then we have the Fashion Week, the Wine Week, a week dedicated to the food, and many other events just in the next 3 months. We have to exploit all those occasions to reanimate all the stream that can interest our town. Thinking that this can be very good in the short term, but then we have to work on other things in the middle term. We have to think about events that are able to speak to the international market. So every big event in Milan has to work on his specific place on the international market of the events. We have to remember, above all, the events outside the fair facility has been one of the most damaged sector in the last 2 years. And so we have to have a strategy of the event. It's not just a question of quantity. It's not just a question of number of visitors. It's connected, but it's not just this. And we have to improve the facilities around the events. So we are working to improve all the mobility facility, not just in Milan, but thinking about the connection of Milan with a bigger territory compared just to the area of the town. We have to work on immaterial facilities. So how to make more simple to produce an event, how to make more simple and accessible all the service of the town, how to make more transparent what the town can offer to the people that come here in every language, speaking to every country of the world, thinking about the biggest stream. So we know that US is a very important market, like China, like Russia, without thinking about internal market and European. So we have to be focused also on some stream target that has to be attracted from our town. And the last thing is that we need to innovate the system in all those aspects, because what we can do after the pandemic crisis is not just come back to the level of 2019, but how our prime minister used to say and repeat and insist, we need to be more ambitious and create a path of growth stronger compared to 2019. So innovation, investment, connected also with some common interest goal, like environmental transition and facilities that has a widespread impact to all the population of our territory. It's something that the administration of Milan want to try to keep together and make it as a new driver to be again Milan and even something more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Filippo. And we are working on that. And sorry, they are working. We can stop just in case, of course, if you see some noise.
No.
Now,
Ladies and gentlemen.
please.
Is it on? Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon to everybody. Thank you, Giorgio, for the invitation. Actually, I've got a very good introduction by Michael, because Michael told us that actually I'm speaking to the business sector, that means in economics to the supply. But actually, Michael told us that he went in Italy as demand. He appreciated our resources, our environment, our everything, our landscape and so on. So he went by car probably many years ago to Italy. So we had a good opportunity to know and to start from demand. That is what I will ask to my panelists. What to tell you? Actually, I wrote that today we should speak about recovery, restart, remit. Some words that we already spoke about. The event is in Milan, related to an exhibition for furniture in general, but exhibition for hospitality, hotel industries, and that is very relevant for us. And let us not forget, and I'm asking my panelists to, as far as they are able to show us through their figures, through their data, in an environmental context, let's say, of course, within the recovery, but also technology should not be understated in our speech. So we want to deal with what is going on. We want to have new feature. Everybody is looking at us a bit like fortune tellers. So the floor will be yours to explain what we are looking for. Actually, the last figures, just to tell you a few words on what is going on by ENIT, so to have a kind of forecast, we have been able to know the sentiment of all the world for Italy, and actually we are in the top position. We are really at the top. Everybody is looking as far as we start again to move. Many countries are still not allowed to come in Italy. They don't have flights. So without saying anything else, US rather than, for example, Australia and so on, many countries still are closed. But we have very good signal of how people are thinking about our country. And of course, if we have demand, we go back to our previous idea, supply and our supply system, our hotels, but all our, let's say, environment as well is very care and is very active on that. So let us start. I don't want to take time. I don't want to give conclusions. So please, try to do your own conclusion. All my speakers should go around with their conclusions. So I start with Pier Giorgio Schirru, Blasness, Vice President, Head of Revenue and Management and Research and Development. You have also a PowerPoint, I think, a short PowerPoint. Yes, so please go ahead and tell us some figures, if we can hope, if we can, in a different way from the past year in which we were just forecasting something, to have some signal. Yes, we were hoping. Now, much more concrete what the reality is going on. Thank you.
Thank you, Magda. Grazie. Thank you, Magda. I hope I will be able to give some answers to your question. And obviously, everything now is nothing now is clear, nothing now is sure, but we're going to see some numbers now. And the numbers of 2021, especially summer 2021, were unexpected. Were unexpected also for us. Okay. What are we going to see now? We're going to see now the numbers, the sales numbers of a panel of hotels, which represent the hotels of Blasness. There are 800 hotels. Inside this panel, you might find both big hotels, 4-5 stars, but also resorts and bed and breakfast. And all these hotels are distributed around Italy. So we consider this, let's say, very representative of how the market is going on an average. What can we see in this slide? We can see the sales trend from January 2019 until August 2021. And the thing that is impressive for us is that the sales that we registered in the summer 2021 is been incredibly high. More or less, we could say that it's 20% higher than the same period of summer 2019. Going more deep in analysis, we can see the sales from the OTA, the online travel agents, what is Booking.com or Expedia. For sure, we can see that after the drop that came out in March 2020, we regained some bookings that dropped again last year. Now the OTAs are regaining bookings, but they still didn't reach the level of summer 2019. So where did the game change? The real game changer in this summer 2021 has been the direct booking. As you can see, we registered every day of summer 2021 record numbers. And on average, the growth compared to summer 2019, which was the best summer till now, was plus 81%. How is this possible? This is possible because, according to us, the world has changed and the way the customer behave is changing. Today, compared to the past, they demand a stronger relationship with the hotel where they're going to stay. And it's a reason why they're always more looking for a direct contact, a direct booking. It's interesting to take a look also at where these bookings are coming from, which markets. And in the past, in Italy, the two main markets historically are the Italian market and the USA market. Obviously, in 2020, they dropped. They dropped, and only the Italian market kept the bookings, doing actually a performance that was unexpected. We saw bookings for a value which is double than last year. And this was also first kind of hint, something very important for us, because very often we say that the Italian market doesn't have potential, but maybe part of this potential was hidden. In 2021, the Italian market grew even more, and now is more or less 3 times the value that we registered in 2019. Another nice news is that both American and European countries are starting to book again, both to come now and stay now, but also for the next season. So we should get ready for the 2022. I will do now a small focus on the paid search campaign. Why I'm going to do a focus on this? Because Blastness has a strong cooperation with Google since year 2015. And we've been working for a long time with Google to try to understand how to use their tools to give higher visibilities to the hotel websites, using mainly the two instruments, Google AdWords, now known as Google Ads, and Google Hotel Ads, which is the meta search of Google. We've been working for many years, but the best results that we got were in summer 2021. In summer 2021, as you see, the number of direct bookings directed from an advertising on the search engine grew by 197% compared to summer 2019. And this was an impressive number. Even more impressive was the number of Google Hotel Ads, which is the meta search of Google, which grew by 247% compared to summer 2019. It looks like we are living the golden age of the paid search advertising for hotels. So going back to a synthesis of this number, what can we say? We saw that the total electronic distribution in summer 2021 grew by 20% compared to summer 2019. But the OTAs are still down. The real game changer in our hotels has been the direct online official website, which grew by 81%, also pushed by the paid search advertisement from Google Hotel Ads and Google Ads, which grew more than 200%. So what is the conclusion that we can say at this moment? Something very simple. It's the time to go digital. Go digital. It's the real moment and the real year to seize all the opportunities of this digital transformation. What's going on? The world is changing. We are facing it every day. For me, it's strange to be here and don't see the mask, but the world has changed already. And also the way the customer book is changing. Maybe all these changes would have taken place in 5, 10 years. We're all talking about it. With Mark often, we talk about it when we meet for lunch. But what happened with the pandemic? Looks like these changes that would have taken place in 5, 10 years, they squeezed in a year and a half, or maybe in 2 years. And what we think is that it might even grow. What we see for 2022 is that these numbers could be even higher because markets like US and European are coming back. So my question is, we are getting ready for this digital transformation. What are you doing out there to catch the opportunities and don't lose the right moment, which is now?
Thank you for the question, mostly, and
Thank you,
for the
Marta.
intervention. Thank you. The barometer pickup gave us very good information, and I think that can be very helpful to look not just as wishful thinking, but in order to look at the future in a very positive way. So we go much deeper now on occupation, on employment, on the revenues and so on. And I ask Marco Malacrida to reach us, Director Italy STR, with other news, other data to be put together. And the conclusion may be a bit shorter on what you are. Sorry.
Thank you, Magda. It works. I will have some problems with this, I am told. But first of all, thank you for being here. And I am here to witness what just was anticipated by Michael. I share 110% his opinion back from Berlin, where the sentiment around our country was booming, to say the least. Today, I decided to show you the hidden side of Italy numbers, not the main cities, not Milano, not Rome, not Venice, not Florence, but the small cities around, the small location. I don't like to call them secondary, because they are the hidden gems which will flourish more than the big cities in the future, and where we should look at for future investments and renovation. Being in a design environment, please just look at the lines. Do not look at the numbers. Can you see the difference and what has happened in 2019, 20, and on the green line, what is happening now? This is the 40 top luxury destination in Italy, from north to south, the very best. Places where people like us dreams to go because they are almost unaffordable unless you are multi-billionaire, but gives a trend. As always in all sectors of the economy, luxury drives, followers come. What is happening lower, in the lower scale, on the upper upscale market? Well, the same as luxury. So isn't this a trend, a behavior in the demand? Look at the economy. It is a trend. It's a consolidated trend. ADR and occupancy are growing. People is back. They want to have holidays, and they are prepared to bet on us. The responsibility is on our side now as hotelier, because these are the ADRs. Now you can look at some numbers. When you see that there's a, please, Michael, when you see on the left the figure 1,000, I'm not joking, and it is without VAT. This is the average daily rate in the luxury sector, the top 40 in Italy. But this is also what we find in the upper upscale. So it's we reached 180 plus VAT. And we passed in 2019 and 2020 levels. And look at what is happening in the economy, the same. What does this mean? Oh, we'll become more rich? No. we have to commit to deliver the promise. We can, as Bob Marley used to say, you can fool some people sometimes, you can't fool all the people all the times. So it's now time to go to the banks, to go and find in your pocket money to invest, build a better product, deliver a better service, pay more the employees, that's essential, and deliver a better service, because we are in a world consisting on about 7.3, 7.5 billion inhabitants, of which 500 million, 500 million can afford to spend on holidays tens of thousands of euros. And as Magda anticipated, they are ready to come to Italy. Italy is the best in their wishes. It's number one. So now it's time to be here, not to think at silly things, but what can I do and deliver for the next 5 to 10 years to my customer who are willing to come at any cost nearly, but I have to deliver much more. So it's a call to action, invest, invest, invest. This is the way we have to regenerate. And I had a subject for next meeting. Remember these words, ESG, eco, social, governance. All the investment will be driven by these three letters, meaning whatever we do, we have to care about the environment first, about people, about the territory where the people lives, and of course about the clients. Thank you.
Thank you. No, Gio. Thank you, Marco. So we started in the first, in the opening by Pier Giorgio with the sentiment and some figures on the web, let's say, and reservation and so on. Then we move to the investment, cross borders as well as an idea, not just in the luxury, but all around, because the results were very interesting. We still have some, let's say, cathedrals, some big town suffering from certain demand, but actually we have very good indication. But I think that I can read in a different way the conclusions by Marco Malacrida, which are, do not forget quality, because we are a special country and we must take care, not just investing to answer to a general demand, but to take care what people are asking. And after the COVID, environment and other very interesting point, emotions and so on. We don't get into those details, but all of us, we know them very well. So in order to close this part of the panel, I should ask to reach this part of the floor, the cross on the floor, Maria Carmela Coriacovo, President Association, I don't know how to translate, Associazione Confindustria Alberghi. We say it in Italian, we know one each other. Please, Maria Carmela.
Hello, good morning. I'm sorry, but I read my speech because it's better, and I don't want to forget anything. Okay. After 70 months, which COVID-19 hits the hotel business, the vaccination campaign has favored the appearance of the first sign of recovery in July and August. Only few people travel abroad in Europe, but those who decide to leave their borders come to Italy. And the desire for Italy is shown in August and July. But the city of art are still suffering, as they are the most affected by the absence of a non-European tourist. Still strongly conditioned by the restrictive measure adopted in Italy and Europe, which for many important markets, including India and China, provide for a leisure travel ban. However, for the first time in many months, in July and August, the business confidence index in the tourism services improved from 113 to 116. Okay, in comparing January-July 2021 data to those of the same period in 2019, the gap is still very wide. So room occupancy rate minus 63%, average daily rate minus 7%, revenue per room revenue minus 74%. The return to pre-crisis levels is expected to 2023. Although the last week in Berlin, the most important international industry players stressed that an acceleration in vaccination campaign could allow for a quicker recovery. As Prime Minister Draghi pointed out several times since he took office, tourism industry cannot go bankrupt, as it's bound to restart and has a huge growth potential. But after a year and a half of almost a complete standstill, investment in the coming years could be at risk. In the coming months, there will be 3 investment priority lines. Okay, redevelopment. Italy recovery and the resilience plan approved by Brussels last July provide for 2.4 billion euros for tourism industry. Of these, 1.8 billion are for measures aimed at improving leisure accommodation facilities and tourist services. The Italian minister, Mr. Garavaglia, is working on a strengthened tax credit to support redevelopment investment in hotel companies. We are thinking about 80% of bonus. Since the beginning of the crisis to date, the state aid matter has been the subject of numerous amendments to adapt the EU framework to the needs of the member state in order to offer adequate responses to firms with respect to the dramatic COVID-19. The protracting difficulties in some industries, such as tourism, has led to the need for further intervention on which the EU has been working in recent weeks with these member states. The long-term credit is another point very important. In response of the needs of firms, the banking system is also starting to work on mid-long-term interventions, knowing that the industry has ample room for recovery and the growth ahead of it, and that it must be supported the current phase in order not to interrupt the path of growth of company and the Italian supply system. In July, UniCredit issued the first 20 years loans, but other banks will follow soon. And you know, 20 years is very important for our business. Instruments which are new to the hotel business, such as bonds and basket bonds, are also being studied today. Okay, full recovery prospects lie ahead to the leisure hotel industry. The coming month will be key to consolidate a package of interventions that effectively support companies to resume the path to development and innovation that was abruptly interrupted in February 2020. The reform campaign, the recovery and the resilience plan should help build a better environment for investment and growth, an important challenge that Italy cannot lose. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria Carmela. So some other pieces of our puzzle, and the puzzle is very clear for investment, for real estate, but in general for the banks, for the government, how to build and how to act all together in order to reach investment, to reach the development. In the last year, as we saw, we had in the last few months, let's say, not last year is wrong, we had very good signals of how the things can carry on. We hope to be able to keep it on, and I still go back without adding anything because we had many conclusions on what has been said and how relevant it is to invest, to keep the quality and so on. Something happened in the last years was a very bad, was the worst, not bad, the worst years, but let's take like an opportunity to start again from the crisis. As Sir Churchill was used to say, we get the opportunity to recover, to reinvest and so on. So let us look in such a direction. Actually, now there should have been Mr. Palmucci to give us a short view from the Enid point of view. Actually, I started he won't be here with us, he has not been able to reach us, but he asked me to tell you something. We started from some figures at the beginning from Enid, but what he asked me to give you is another point. I will point it out in few seconds, and is the idea of Valore Paese Italia. Is a project on which we are very care because it's done by the national, let's say, the agency of states for the state properties. So we have the government, but not just. We have not the states, sorry. We have the states, but not just the states, some other public authorities like municipality, region, and so on. But the project, I'm telling you why he asked me to underline, and not just from the real estate point of view, but from the touristic development, the tourism development, but in the direction of developing also at local level in the less, let's say, discover Italy in order to build up a real network. And the idea is of protection and conservation of our beautiful heritage, which is done by public properties, which are completely left out of in any path of tourism. So those properties are saved, first of all, are restored, from degradation because many of them are really destroyed. Thanking also to innovative approaches and also to taking care, like Marco told us, about the environment. Those buildings are owned, of course, by the public sector. The areas are really very beautiful and fascinating where they are. I'm telling you about the firehouses rather than, come si dice, case cantoniere, roadman houses should be case cantoniere. I'm sorry for the name, but I translate in a certain way. And they're very useful, for example, for biking or for other kind of sports or walking or itineraries on the territory, or for rural tourism and so on, or wine enogastronomy touring and so on. And we also have other opportunity to develop those, but not just from the real estate. We have a bid from the government, and the opportunity is to give them in a kind of concession for many years so that people can have the opportunity to develop and to manage those assets. So the idea not just, as I said, from the real estate point of view, is a very good project, this one, to put those buildings, let's say, on the market, to have someone managing them, because the idea is to have a kind of common way. And now I go back to my previous hat or t-shirt, as we say in Italian, to go back to the way of teaching people, having good human resources able to manage those resources. So we have a call for bids. This is a very nice project because it's around, it is out of the peak seasons, and that can be very useful for us, and it is all over the country. So we have itineraries, we have a very new, let's say, network. So I just wanted to add this part for Giorgio Palmucci, who is asking to welcome you here. As well, we do not have time. We went short, but everybody already did a conclusion, so I don't want to go back and to repeat or to get deeper in some concept which has already been pointed out to my mind. And I should thank everybody. Sorry not to give you the opportunity for intervention, but all our speakers, all our panelists are here around. So just in case, from a personal point of view, you can stop a bit them and ask something. Thank you very much. We are in the times.
Perfect. perché c'è la parte... Okay. Italian real estate hotel value. What does it mean? It means that during COVID period, we had a lot of time, and a very friend of mine asked me is about asking about the worth of Italian hotels, the total of the asset value, and it was a great question. And we start with this report in working with the research of World Capital, and this is show the Italian hotel real estate assets are worth over 100 billion. This is the value, and this is the highest value that is in Europe. This is a very important point. The report with the patronage of ICA and RICS estimate the value of the sea mountain city cluster by analyzing more than 200 tourist locations and more than 20,000 hotels and over 1 million rooms. The study is a work in progress. Means that we have the possibility to create reports on request to meet individual needs with the focus on specific area and destination. We can see later an example by today by looking at the focus on the city of Milano. It's quite clear that the four cities, the big four, Milano, Roma, Florence, and Venice, contribute more to the total than the other cities that we don't like call secondary cities, but now we call alternative cities. Rome is about 34%, followed by Milano with 18%, Venice is 16%, and Florence is 9%. This year, almost 80% of the deals on the first 6 months took place on the big four. Venice led with almost 50% of the volume of acquisitions. The 5-star price remain unchanged compared to the pre-COVID because investor value that the hotels were for sale. More than 50% of the deals involve 5 stars, while few transactions for 3 stars and 4 stars range, whose price fell between 6 and 20 compared 2019, that was our estimated and was the base case. Okay, thank you for introduction. Please.
Yes, from numbers to numbers. I ask Monica Badin to join us on stage. Monica Badini, who is a real estate consultant, hotel department, the World Capital. We already said about 117 billion euro pre-COVID value for hotels in Italy. We said that you have analyzed the asset value of hotels around 266 tourist destinations. I would like to ask you, Monica, if you can briefly describe us the study and let us know what the future prospects are for these assets, in particular for Milan. Milan is the focus, and you can tell us prospects and values of hotels in Milan. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Laura, for the question. Thank you, Giorgio, for the presentation. Good afternoon to all of you. I'm very excited today to present the outcome of the Italian real estate hotels value with a particular focus on the vibrant Milan. But let's start with the criteria that we used to carry this report out. Therefore, often, many people ask me, how could we get the whole hotel's value in Italy? Well, it was not simple, yet it was not impossible either, because the starting point for us is that valuation helps how to turn the future with an opinion hotel asset value today. So what we did was merely assign a score to each tourist destination based on several topics, several main factors, such as location of the hotel, destination, demand drivers and trading potential, infrastructure, traveler sentiment, configuration of the asset, age and quality of FF&E and OS&E and ownership, lease terms, management, and the value of the brand or the value of the soft brand. The second question is how we decide, why we decide to carry this report out. So, as you may know, there are some factors that are affecting the market, such as unrealistic assumption, price expectations that are too high, and over-renting. Be careful, because this is the most relevant factor in these challenging times. So this report would like to transfer business intelligence value to the development and disposition analysis and try to assign an estimated assets value to a remarkable treasure as our Italian hotels are. Because you know better than me that foreign investors are checking out Italy's top hotels. They are revenues starving to upgrade and rebrand this property. That's why in Italy there are many high-end destinations, more than in other European countries. And huge investors willing to build a hotel portfolio because they can get higher returns. But let's go straight to the point. Hotel values in Milan. Well, the pandemic is a game changer even in Milan, because as you can see from this slide, 165,000 euro is the average price per key for a 3-star hotel. 290,000 euros is the average price per key for a 4-star hotel, and 164,000 euro is the average price per key for a 5-star or luxury property in Milan. As you can see from these figures, the mid-scale segment is a little bit suffering in comparison with the pre-pandemic period. That's because institutional investors don't believe to the upside potential of a family-run, independent, tired, and small hotel. But that's true that the more money you have, the less you're willing to pay for a specific product. And as per our experience, we know that every hotel has its buyer, because it's about the market need, not the market timing. So different owners have different reasons for investing, and mostly different holding return periods. So going on with the numbers, we can see that hotel values are decreasing as far as we go away from the city center. I don't want to bore you now with all the figures. You can ask this presentation to Work Capital or PKF, and we are more than happy to send you to you. Because now I would like to talk to the vibrant future for Milan and its ongoing projects. So we know that in the next 2 years will be added in the city center more than 1,300 keys. And the point is that we have more than 75 hospitality projects under construction. So if you want to survive in this uncertain time, you have to be an upstander, not a bystander, making your hotel a spot that is very special even for all the locals. Going on with the presentation, we see that the ongoing projects in Milan are focusing their attention on sustainability, health and safety, and hybridization. That's for two main reasons. First of all, commercial performance. That means profitability. The second one, operational efficiency. That means taking systematic approach by pulling together better data, such as capacity, allocation, viability, and so on. So here you can see some of a few of the most important ongoing projects in the city. We have a mind that will catalyze more than 60,000 people per day. Milano Sesto, which is the largest urban redevelopment in the country, the Olympic Village, and the MSG Arena in Santa Giulia. Take note that almost 24,000 keys will be added in the city, in the market, by 2026. So finally, what did we learn from 2020? Well, it's important to know that globally, the most active lenders are the banks and the debt funds. Banks for construction spaces are generally to 50% loan to cost or lower. A higher L2C value percentage means a higher risk for an investment for lenders. In addition, international investor cap rate expectations compressed by 42 basis points in comparison with the last year, meaning that price can rise without an increase in annual rental incomes, and prices can rise due to the lack of core products. So the point is to determine if the annual returns justify the buyer's equity investment. Otherwise, the lenders, the banks, don't give you the money. No money, no vibrant future. So you have to consider 4 underwriting criteria: the power of the market, the strength of the hotel within the market, the strength of the brand and the borrower themselves. And now Milan have all of them, can have all of them. The rest, it's up to you. Are you a bystander or an upstander? Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica, for your support and your contribution. And now we have to see Italian hotel portfolio within a global scenery. And that's why I call Claudia Scarcella, country manager di RICS, and I ask her if you can give us some details of the RICS value standards applied to the hotel sector and tell us what is missing to meet international standards? And above all, I know I have the two questions and I try to put the second one inside the first one. Do you think that the 80% bonus formula can enhance this heritage and benefit the Italian hospitality sector? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and for speaking to everybody. For those who don't know RICS, ICS stands for Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyor. It's a professional, leading professional group, a professional organization present in 148 countries and developing international standards, creating confidence, creating clarity, creating uniformity in the markets. And these standards are trusted and adopted not only by the governments and by the banking institutions, but mainly by 134,000 professionals in the world, which are all members. I have the honor to represent here 600 members in Italy, including all panel. They are all members of ICS Italy. And as we've seen from the presentation of Monica, the approach that we have in considering the value of an hotel is a very serious matter. It's a very serious matter, and it is creating confidence in institutional investors is to have the standards applied. The ICS standards, the IVS, International Valuation Standards, are the basis that can create the confidence for institutional investors to come, because we create a unique and uniform approach to valuation that is exactly what Monica has described before. So if you look at the hotel, every single hotel is a different valuation. Market value is not everything. Based RICS standards based on market value and rent value, means the sustainable rent that is applicable to a property in a hotel. And the approach that ICS is taking in valuation is the financial return investments on the value of the hotel, meaning that it is considering the financial performance of the property. So we take into account many aspects, as the one that Monica has illustrated. We take in the study is not only location, is to consider the status of the asset, how it is managed, how it is maintained, how are the consideration, all the legal, cadastral, urbanistic factors that affect a property. And mainly, we need to consider the capability of the property to develop a sustainable long-term return for an investor, meaning that it's able to produce income in the long term, in the term that is considered for investments by the investors. So what we consider is the net property income that can be generated. So this is mainly the difference in the approach, that is looking at very seriously to every single asset and every single approach that can require different competencies, different capabilities from the market. Take, for instance, the consideration of, we are selling now, I've seen in the market on newspapers that we are selling castles. What does it mean, selling a castle? How do you determine the value of a castle? You can require a set of different considerations. So it is art antiques. Maybe the castle is producing wine, so you need somebody who is specialized in farming. And so you have to determine every single part of the activity on the hotel that you are, or in the property that you are evaluating, that is able to produce an income. Not only the hotel, the price per room, the revenues that you have in the hotel room, but the revenues you have from the restaurants, the revenues you have from the wellness, the revenues that you have from the wine production of the castle. So what is very important, what is key, and then it's clear from the presentation we have from Monica, is the management of the hotel. So the key factor is how this hotel is managed, how well this hotel or this property is managed, how this is able to meet, as one of the relator has said, meeting the expectation of your public, of the users, how this is high quality considered in the services delivered, how is it able to attract the flower, have the hospitality of Italian flower or leisure or lifestyle. This is attracting the investor, as we say before. So this is a important to understand that the value is a very serious matter that has to be very professionally analyzed in order to make an investor convinced, and we say also a bank convinced on putting money on that investment. So that is the reason why application of international standards. RICS is not only producing the standard in valuation. Valuation is the most important, well-known standard, but we have standards for all the sectors of the profession. And also, for instance, the important standard like the international property measurement standard, how we measure a property, how we are making, we also disputing about square meters, how many square meters are there. So there is a standard for measurement. There is a standard that all international operators are recognizing. So this is also connected to the second question, the 80%. I mean, the sentiment from all members, I represent the sentiment of all members, is that, of course, it's a huge opportunity. It's a huge opportunity to solve some of the structural problems that we have in our portfolio that we all know. So it's not the first intervention the government is taking in tax reduction. So it's a huge opportunity for operators to approach, to have a different approach to their properties. There are two facts that can, I mean, provide some problems in a mass application of the 80%, I mean, of exploiting, totally exploiting this opportunity. And one is timing. Timing because the decree has been announced at the end of June, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not yet being promoted. So we don't know. It is the ministry is promising a very quick application of the decree law. So we will know at the end what the requirements will be for having access to the 80%. And it is important to know it immediately, because if you have to make meter for approval, you have to start the works, it is important for operators that can exploit this for the new season. So it mainly for locations that are leisure location. So this is the first important thing we need to know. And the second important is how we did the measure that our operator can access the bonus. Because we know, I mean, Monica has told us, the main part of our portfolio's properties are family owned by local families that own those properties since very long time. So our portfolio is very fragmented, small units. So it is how in the future, in the past, these properties have been managed in the sense that they are conformity to land and to urban registry, because this will provide the basis for accessing the bonus. Because as far as you know, the bonus has been a simplified version for crime, and it's not bureaucratic administrative procedure, will be a simple request for starting of the work, and the simple request of starting of the work has to be certified by a technical professional, which is providing, I mean, sure on his own professionalism that the property is compliant fully, 100%. So that's the reason why we need to understand how much of the part of the portfolio can be accessible. And this is a unique opportunity because the 80% will also extend not to sustainability, but also to other reconstruction of the property, furniture, everything. So it's a big opportunity, but we need to consider on the back how our properties are at the moment owned on the legal cadastral urbanistic situation that is applicable to the 80% bonus. And we know that it is a structural problem in our portfolio.
Thank you, Claudia, for sharing with us your experience in RICS. Thank you. If you can give the microphone to Mr. Belli, who is the second to speak. We are starting a conversational part. We have concluded the institutional one and the conversational part starting with CDP. I'd like to ask Alessandro Belli, who is Investment Director, CDP. Real estate of CDP. How is the real estate industry reacting in terms of investments between development projects and repricing of structures? And also the second questions for you, because I have this precious timetable, but we've run out of time, so we have not a few minutes to ask you questions. But the second one is which are the gaps of the hotel industry compared to the international market and CDP plans towards the industry. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. I will be very, very quick. Don't worry. It's really a pleasure to be here also because I think it's very, very important for the industry to be present physically and start again to meet and discuss and do network. Coming to your first question, repricing. What we see on the market that there is no repricing, especially on the prime location. Probably, if we consider the prime location, there is a price that are increasing above the price that were before COVID. That's probably because, I mean, the reason could be what you said before, that there's a lack of product, no, of quality product. Usually in the crisis, flight to quality. But no, I think that it's also because the investor they see the light at the end of the tunnel. We know that this summer the leisure resorts works very well. Many of them, they had in the high season the same results of 2019. That's very, very important. The season was shorter compared to 2019, of course, because there is still a problem in traveling. International travelers, they're difficult to come in Italy, of course. But this is a good sign. That means that something is, I mean, we are coming to the normality. We're coming back to the normality. As we say, the main cities are still suffering. The city hotels are suffering, but the situation is coming. I've been in Berlin in the IHF, and the sentiment of the international chain, the CEO of the main chain was the same. We see the light. About so strong competition, of course, we know and we see that the banks, the financing is not easy. Because the banks are not financing like before. They are very, very careful and focus on the main 4 cities. But there are many players that are full equity, that are ready to invest. So the market is active. The equity is in the market. There is a strong interest also because hospitality is the core business of Italy. I mean, we have gap, and we will talk about get the second question. But the investors see that there is a high potential in the country. Coming to the new development, we see is that, I mean, the investor didn't stop the development. Sometimes it was just slow down the process in order to be ready with the new, hotel after the total recovery that should be, 2023 or 24. So also on the development side is what we see, of course, is our limited, let's say, view, is that there's a good picture. Coming to the gap of the market, because of course the CDP is the Italian national institution promotion, so we work for help the country to develop. And the hospitality, we all know that is, I say, the core business of Italy, because 30% of the value added. That means 260 billion euro of value added. That's very important. And if you consider the whole industry, if you consider the hotel, it's 60 billion euro. It's a huge amount of money, and that's the reason why this is important sector for Italy. What we see is that Italy is first in the wish list for the international travelers, but we are 5 in terms of arrival, 50, sorry, behind all the other big countries in Europe, like Spain, like France and other. And we are in the 8th position in terms of competition. Competition considering all the aspects, not only the pure hospitality. So something is wrong, no? First in a wish list, but in the 8th position in the competition. That's the gap. There are some numbers that are really amazing, because, for example, if you consider their international arrival in Sicily, they are the same number of Malta. If you consider the size of the island, but also the potential interest that can give to the tourists of Sicily, in Sicily, no, culture, food, and everything, the sea, and the different kind of offer. It's really strange, no? We see that is a potential. We can increase a lot. Also in Italy, there is a gap. If you consider south of Italy, international arrival are less than Veneto region. 7 million versus 13. That's another interesting information. That means that the south, with all the potential that has in terms of offer, probably is the south of Italy needs to do something to improve. And what we have to do, we have as an operator of the industry, invest in the asset, improve the quality of the asset, improve the quality of the service. That means that, as someone said before me, we need to have people that manage the hotel in a professional way, because this is what the international, but also the national tourists ask, or customers ask. And that's not easy, because we know 33,000 hotel, 1 million room, small hotel in Italy. We all know this problem, but probably there is, let's say, in the crisis, there is a potential opportunity to change something in the sector. Unfortunately, probably we will increase the NPL of the hotel, then we increase in the bankrupt or something like this. But also, this process can accelerate the change in the business model, coming to the ownership and management through the separation between ownership and management, and maybe a model through the management agreement, the franchising agreement. In Italy, in Europe, we have 75% of management and franchising and versus ownership. In Italy, is the opposite. Of course, I mean, we have to see that the trend of the international market. I mean, is this one, and we have to follow in some way. Coming to the last, and of course, we invested. We already invested up to 200 million euro, 2,000 rooms, 8 resorts. 1/3 of the investment are capex, and we executed 50% of the capex. So we invested buying and also to refurbish. And as a group, of course, we are currently involved in the new business plan of the CDP. That's very important, because in this, due to the new CEO that was appointed before summer, as you know, but there are the recovery fund resources that are coming. We know that there are many some money, additional money for the tourism sector, and that's an opportunity. we need to invest. We have some money coming from the funds and the recovery fund for this. And I think that all we that are here, we need to be ready to do our part in the game. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro. And we spoke about competition, about investments, projects, and now please join me on stage, Michelangelo Ripamonti, Portfolio Manager di Castello SGR. You believe, you firmly believe in hotel and in hospitality sector. You recently stated as a group that as the acute phases of the pandemic passes, Castello SGR intends to focus on further developing the business and leisure offering and to pioneer an innovative approach by creating long-term growth. Can you give us some details of this plan, of this innovative approach? And second one, what are the prospects in terms of transactions for the hotel property sector, which is the sentiment? Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Giorgio and PKF for inviting. As it has been said, in the recent years, the transaction have been concentrated mainly in the city hotels. So like I would say like circa 85% and like only 15% have been concentrated on resorts. Considering the category of the hotels, most of the transactions have been concentrated on upper upscale and luxury hotels. Going forward, what we see is an increasing presence of the brands since they can help the investors in the turnaround of the hotel management and at the same time increase the revenues through their multi-channel distribution. So in terms of type of investments, we expect to see an increase of percentage of the resort segments, mainly due to the many sea and mountain destinations that we have in our country compared to all the other European countries. And on the city side, because like the big four will remain very like an interesting investment. We will see an increasing percentage of lifestyle hotels, so they can mix both a business and leisure target at the same time. So the key drivers of this kind of investments will be for sure the location, the ability to reposition and the hotel with the refurbishment and rebranding, the quality of the management, and last but not least, the ability to improve the experience and the service to the guest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And may I ask Giorgio to come to join me? Yeah, please. We have a conclusion to do or no conclusion? What can you say? No, we go through another panel.
Absolutely. Sorry, I just move here. Okay.
I leave you.
Stay with us.
Stage.
Now we have the conference. We have a conference online. We will managed by our colleague, Nils. And unfortunately, cannot join us in Milan. Is based in Cape Town, South Africa, and will manage this very interesting paneling conversation with industry leaders, and it will be online. If you stay like that, we will serve also the coffee. Then you don't need to go to the bar and just.
It's coffee time.
Yeah, no, that we can do together. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Buongiorno a tutti, and thank you very much for joining us here. I've got the great pleasure to have Monica Moser, CEO of Campbell House Design. I've got Julian Gilland, who is the Just get that 100% right. He is the Director of Business Innovation at Deutsche Hospitality, and of course Christian Walter, who's the Joint Managing Director of PKF Hospitality Group. So benvenuti a tutti, as they say, in the region where we are being screened. Nice to have you with us. We're trying in 30 minutes, one more we don't have, unfortunately. We're trying to touch on a subject which would probably keep us busy for a few years, months. It's innovation in hotels. What has changed? What is to change? What is innovation? Innovation was once defined by Barack Obama as the creation of something that improves the way we live our lives. And that's really what we want to look at now, how we have done that in hotels. And I may seem a little bit, what's the right word, challenging. And I'm going to ask a few questions and try to rattle some cages to see whether we have done anything. A hotel provides a bed and a series of other services, as we all know. And that depends on a specialization that the hotel has or specification. But how has the sector improved, innovated over the past, say, 20 years? And maybe we just throw a few things out and get the discussion going. Monica, you've been in the industry, certainly not 20 years. You're way too young to have been there for 20 years, but just under. Tell us where you feel, and you've got the experience from a hotelier's perspective, but you also been involved with hotel design, and that is really where I would like our discussion to somehow go. But let's start with you.
Well, I love the quote that you mentioned from Obama, because it really brings it to the point, improving the way our lives are, and that's brings me to being the devil's advocate in the hotel industry. How did we improve our lives in being in hotels? If take out the technology that maybe has given us a little bit more of flexibility and comfort in our stays, there is not much. And I would say the basics of hospitality remain service. So we need to maybe concentrate on how did we improve service? What innovation is out there that improved service in the hospitality?
Mm-hmm. Julian, what would you say? You've been in the industry definitely for a while. I went through your CV. We chatted last week. So you certainly have seen some changes.
Yeah, and I have to agree totally with Monica. When you arrive as a guest in a hotel, not many things really have changed. From my perspective, being in a commercial role for so long, I would say 80% of the innovation happened behind the in the background. So many things improved the life of a hotelier, while the basic services still are the same. However, to complement with Monica, I would say one of the big changes in the last 20 years is that service is not really the big call anymore, since we see the rise of the economy and mid-scale brands coming up, where really service does not matter that much, but more price and e-services and so on. So it's not only the service, it's also the quality of the stay that is not affected by service sometimes.
I'd like to come back to that one in a minute, but Christian, when I put this panel together after Giorgio asked me, I said, let's bring Christian in because you're a bit of the, what's right, I don't want to say disruptor is maybe too much, but the free thinker, the one that sort of challenges the status quo, and you've done that at round tables, one that we hosted recently as well. So what is it from your side? What do you think has changed?
First of all, buongiorno to Milano, and I'm very sorry that we cannot be with you live in the flesh on site. But Niels and I, we actually hosted a sister event yesterday here in Dubai, the 196 Plus Roundtable. What has changed over the last 20 years? Maybe if we go back further, I would say what has definitely happened is that we have moved on from trying to avoid bad surprises in hotels to providing pleasant and positive surprises. I think we have moved into an experience industry. So our job is very much about providing experiences. Also, I see that hotels, thank God, have become again social hubs. That's something that is very dear to my heart. In the center of that, I think, is that the rediscovery of the food and beverage as an important function of hospitality. So we're going back to hotels to meet, maybe not during the last couple of months. That was difficult, but that's for me probably the major change in the last 1 to 2 decades. We've moved much more into lifestyle, whatever that means, much more focus on design, interior design. Monica, I hope you agree. I think we've become much more diverse, also in terms of product, in terms of brands, in terms of concepts that are out there. There's good quality from low budget hotels to luxury hotels. I think that's also something that changed. Yeah, you can really have good value for money today, and that's amazing. It's become much more transparent. There are all those reviews on the internet, whether you like it or not, but I think in the end it's a good thing. We've become much more transparent and thus much more consumer orientated as an industry. So those are some of the observations over the last 20 years.
Thank you, Christian. But they're all, for me, they're great and they're important. But there isn't really a change. I walk into a hotel and we moved from the one hotel today in Dubai to another one. And I look around and say, yeah, nice. But is there anything that has really changed? And some people say, but what do you want to change? It's a bedroom, you know, there's a bed and there's a bathroom and whatever, but what do you want to change? Yet we talk about recently about the demands that have changed of guests. We work remotely. And all of us who, or not all of us, can afford to have a suite where I have an office space maybe, and the bedroom is another room. So how are we making it more comfortable for those digital nomads or just hotel consultants, for all I care, who move from one city to another, and looking for a desk where you can actually work on? Again, Monica, with you to start. If you had, and again, you've been a hotelier and now you're on the design side of things, running a fairly big practice there. If you had your way, would you change something, or would you say, I'll just put another nice flower arrangement here and change the curtains a little bit and everything is fine?
Well, that would be an insult for the designers, I guess, but interior design.
I'll challenge.
I agree with Christian. Interior design has become more important, and thank God we are going away from the standardized cubicles and hotels that were very simple in the past to something that is more adapted to everybody's needs and this different type of hotels coming up. What maybe I see as a difference is, and you touched on the remote work and the need to gather together. Is in interior design, we tend to integrate all outlets in one. So open the spaces and don't have cut outlets anymore. Like the restaurant is open only from this time to that time, and you can't have a drink in the middle of the day because the restaurant is closed in the lobby, for example. So, but again, it goes back to service. And I think interior design facilitates or has been facilitating this movement, this innovation in the past, in creating solutions that would allow service to be more flexible, much more maybe open-minded, much more adapted to the client's needs, the needs of the clients from today. And that goes to this flexibility as well in the new way of working. Maybe travelers want to have their hotel as a new office space in the future.
Right. Julian.
Yeah, flexibility is definitely the key word here. And we are also looking as a hotel operator. Of course, we are looking into long-term solutions, right? So we, if we operate hotels, they have a longer lifespan. So we need to anticipate also what's not only what is, let's say, what is the status as of now, but what could be the status tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. So in this case, I would say this has really changed within the past years. That all hotel operators have become as an entity more flexible. We are learning a lot from our Asian shareholder Huazhu, one of the biggest Chinese hotel groups, who has a life cycle of 5 to 8 years for their design, while we operate normally in the past operated with much longer lifespan. So this is something that we are really looking into because the trend for working in a hotel is probably now the state of the art, but could be tomorrow. It could change really quick. We have seen this during the last 2 years that things changed within weeks. So we need to be flexible. And I would compliment here with Monica again to say, yes, this is definitely one of the key requirements for us.
Christian, just quickly before we then move on to the next point, because I want to look at implementation, because at the moment we were talking, yeah, things have changed, but where have they physically changed? I agree with you, Monica, that many lobbies have changed and restaurants pulling into the lobby and whatever. And there's one big old, and no disrespect to old, but old established and well-established brand, Sheraton. They have looked at their lobby concept over the last couple of years. They've changed it altogether, where some people said, will Sheraton even be relevant? And they said, yes, we are relevant. We've been around for, I don't know, 60 years probably, if not longer. And they looked at changing that. But I'd like to touch just now after Christian on where we have implemented certain things and how we can still implement it and what's in the pipeline. But Christian, in the meantime, what are your thoughts on the
innovation? It's such a big word, and I think we're maybe too critical. I reflected upon that a little bit in preparing for this panel. I think if we mention the word innovation, we're very much looking for some sort of technological product kind of innovation, and maybe that's not necessarily for us. Yeah, putting a flat screen TV instead of the old TV into a hotel room, that's for me not really innovation. And before we discuss innovation, I think sometimes we have to refocus on the essentials of hospitality. That's something I do whenever I stay at some hotel. For me, the essential is still providing a good night's sleep. And before we think about all sorts of crazy digital gadgets, let's go back to that and be very self-critical. And I think that most operators, most hotel groups, unfortunately, don't really think about whether they actually provide a good night's sleep, you know, and that has something to do with noise, that has something to do with vibrations, tactile things, that has something to do with light, and I think that's really something we also have to put into the focus again before we think about innovation. But if you want to discuss innovation, I think for me, innovation in hospitality is very much in new concepts that are popping up. To mention a few that I think are innovative concepts, Soku, for example, for me is something that is really new and innovative. The student hotel, I think, is something amazing, a super interesting concept, someone who's really challenging the industry. So I think innovation is really also in terms of how we interact, challenging the way we live, the way we work, the way we travel, you know, providing new hybrid forms of social interaction. That's innovation for me. Also innovation in terms of destinations, not always thinking about the same destinations. Think about new destinations, untapped into destinations, and what kind of concepts, products we need there. So that's for me the kind of innovation I want to see. Of course, there's also technological innovation, but that's for me not the really exciting thing, to be honest.
Look, I want to challenge that too. It's exciting, it's not exciting, but when technology, when digitalization came up, when we said people can reserve their own room remotely, they can check in, they can check out. I don't know what the latest stats are in terms of the utilization of that. But what I'm missing is, and again, just judging by the places that I've stayed at over the last couple of years now, which, you know, not many in the last 18 months, of course. But before that, I look at it and saying, have we really utilized it as hotels, as hoteliers? Have we utilized it enough? Because Julian, you were saying service doesn't matter or take sort of a second step back. I would disagree with that with respect, where I'm saying, you know, if I have got these apps, if I've got these facilities to do, shouldn't it give me as an hotelier an opportunity to utilize my time more service oriented and use that kind of innovation in order to free up people to be what most of us who started in this industry, myself 40 odd years ago, to be hosts, to be to be hospitable, no matter whether you're in a luxury product or whether you're in a backpacking. Because in backpacking, also need to tell somebody they want to go to a particular site and where they should go and curate their experiences as such. Are we doing enough there, and how are we counteracting that? To just take a little bit of a sidestep before we get back into the actual hardware that I'm kind of interested in as well.
Yeah. Well, Niels, probably just to catch up with this, I didn't mean that service is not necessary at all. It's just that the segments where service doesn't play the primary role are decreasing. If you look at the number of hotels that are being built at the moment, yeah, and Christian, you mentioned these projects where really, let's say, the staffing situation in a hotel is not as high as in a 5-star hotel or even in a 4-star hotel. This is the situation that we are facing. And again, from an operator view, one of the biggest challenges is the staffing problem that we are facing within the next 5-10 years. And this is something we have to, where technology certainly can help us. And I do agree, we have to see where do we make the difference in terms of service. Yeah, doing a check-in is not the service that we need to provide, but giving a good restaurant advice, yeah, or I don't know, good flower arrangement or whatever. That is
cool
the kind of service people. Yeah, that is the kind of service people are looking into. It's not the basics. It's not the technical stuff that can be done by apps. So we are looking for completely new people there as well. People who have more have not the technological side or the expertise how to check in or how the wine is served correctly, but probably be more authentic and yeah, have the guest gene within them. So
yeah. Coming back to the and I'm not going to let go of that one before we close. Changes in the bedroom. Are we doing changes in the bedroom? Are we looking at changes in the bedroom? Again, coming back to the working in a room to have more space for, available to me. I looked at some concepts, and you're right, Christian. Zoku, for example, is a fantastic concept, but that requires different heights and everything else, and it's purpose built. But what can we change in a bedroom?
Also, Deutsche Hospitality has wonderful concepts, by the way. Just want to.
Pardon?
Also, Deutsche Hospitality has wonderful concepts, by the way.
But everybody, many companies have it, so it's yeah.
Of course. But looking at the basic layout, it has not, in most places, hasn't changed. I looked at the concept the other day where somebody, and it was, I think, a small guest house or whatever, where they had Murphy beds. You know, the beds that suddenly disappear in a cupboard, because even looking at this rather large room I've got the pleasure of staying in, you know, the bed occupies, like in any room, the most space. Do I have to look at it the whole day when I'm there? How do I change that? How do I make it different? Some people said, no, it's not practical. Well, why wouldn't a Murphy bed be practical, Monica?
It's a good question. I think flexibility goes back there again. Anything that isn't furniture that is flexible is good. Now, a Murphy bed, I remember them as very uncomfortable, so I wouldn't put them in the room, but that has changed maybe. In the rooms, we had seen in the past that technology, funny enough, while being present, are not visible anymore. So we are taking off the TVs. We are taking off sometimes telephones as well, because we all have our mobile device now. We see the trend of taking away of the desks, the bureau desks, to a more loungy area. You know, things like that have been in the past as well, taking away, well, that this is really interior design, taking away carpets and fabrics and these things because of the hygiene and the idea that it might be cleaner if you have a parquet or wooden floor. But this goes maybe back again to a specific concept creation on the innovations in terms of the style of the hotel. In general, I think innovation in this terms needs to be agile, needs to be able to change and adapt constantly, specifically in our world. You know, we have seen in the past year that anything changes all the time and that we cannot really foresee it. So the design, the hotel room, the hotel services need to be aware of that.
Julian Deutsche, you mentioned something which stuck with me, which I think is very, very important, is the lifespan of your product, the lifespan of your hotel or your room design. And the less it is, the more chance you have to adapt it. But obviously, we're talking about major capex. How will you counteract, or how will you balance that act of saying we have to maybe relook at it sooner rather than later? How do you manage that? What are your plans there, or what is your strategy, if I could call it that? Also facing the owners that you're working with.
Well, this is currently in the development phase. We are looking into concepts that already have built in, like what Monica said, the flexibility to change. So let's say not from built-in furniture in specific woods that are not state of the art 5-10 years later. We saw the change that the concept is much more open. Again, it's not only the design. We also look into the let's say the smart room abilities of a room. Simplicity is the keyword here. Yeah, customers don't want to have 5 different apps and 10 different switches. So simplicity is something we are looking at. This is something technology is changing, which helps us as an operator to reduce costs. If you see, let's say, in case of lighting, if you change the light from traditional to modern lightings, you can also really work on this side. But we are looking currently at it, and we are looking also how to change rooms. It is definitely a question that has been or that have to be individually discussed with the owner side. So it's not easy, but it's one of the challenges if you want to persuade the developers and investors to choose your brand.
Yeah. Now, Monica, you working with, sorry, Christian, to bypass you on that one, but let me go straight to Monica again. Who, with the various brands that you work with the various individual hotels, who makes the decision, and where's the guest input? Where is the one who actually sleeps in our product? Where does he or she make his or her input to say, look, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. I mean, I love hearing that the telephone goes, because, you know, frankly, I mean, I was woken up the other night in a hotel where suddenly the phone, it didn't ring, but that I could have understood somebody misdialed. It was just making some noise. And, you know, I probably destroyed the plug because I just unplugged it. I didn't know where I was. I was fast asleep, and it made a hell of a noise. The alarm clock is one of my nightmares, where I'm saying, why do people put alarm clocks in there? Everybody carries a cell phone or a watch or whatever. You know, don't put alarm clocks in there, because when they work, fantastic. But when housekeeping doesn't reset it to not ringing at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's a nightmare. So is there a focus group? Do you work as designers? Do you work just with the clients that you serve, or you speak to guests, or how does it work?
Well, thank you for bringing this up, Niels, because I think we don't speak enough to our guests, right? The end user is a very seldom part of the conversation. How often did we have discussions with the owner of a project where he focused on having the design made on his personal beliefs? And there are not enough studies out there as well. You know, we are all coming up with these new things like clients don't want cleaning maids in the room anymore every day, or the sheets cleaned every day, things like that. But where is that stated? You know, at the end of the day, isn't that just to cover our costs better in the operations? I would like to see more studies on the real needs of our guests. Obviously, as a designer, you get inspirations from everywhere, but these are focused on design trends, on art, on inspirational situations. But at the end of the day, it's the owner or the owning company or the operator who decides in which directions we go with the design.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Christian, what do we do as consultants? I mean, we work with brands, we work with owners. Where are we in this? Are we pushing hard enough to bring in the consumer to have consumer forum, a guest forum, whatever. I don't want to call them consumers. We call them guests, don't we? That we speak to these guests and say what was right, what was wrong, what could we do better, and not look at it, because often I think when we ask for input, we just want to hear that the service was great, thank you very much, everything's good, wonderful, we walk away, and are almost afraid to get input, because then we have to do something with that input, don't we? Christian, what do we do as consultants? Do we push hard enough for that to be part of the forum?
Well, I think we're trying, aren't we? I think we're challenging our clients, and you know, our clients are mostly developers and investors. Not necessarily do I always have the solution, but at least I try to challenge and you know, open those old patterns, and it's very much experience driven, of course. All of us, we are traveling a lot, you know, and you see hundreds, if not thousands, of projects, and of course we try to pick something there and to pick something here, and then bring it into the next project as a learning, as a lesson learned. But I agree, we need to definitely listen much more to the guests, to the consumers. I've been asked myself so many times to fill in a questionnaire. You know, it just ends up, I don't know where, in the nirvana, and no one ever really analyzes this. That's very important. Also, I agree with Monica, we need to do more research. We probably need to be, as an industry, much more scientific. I think we're great as hosts, we're hoteliers, you know, that's what we love, food and drink and all that, but sometimes I think we also have to be a bit more scientific and really go into research. We're working at PKF at some projects, of course, but that's really where we need to put more focus, and where probably the hoteliers on site need to be supported by their head offices, by the headquarters of the various groups, with input for the further development. Also listen to the younger generations. We just had this discussion, Niels, the other day. Again, here, with all due respect, the four of us, you know, we're representative of certain generations, but none of us is, Monica maybe still representing the millennials. No, but that's a group we really need to listen to. Yeah? And so if we think about innovation and how to further develop our product, we need to look into the social demographic changes. We need to understand how the way those people live and work and travel in the future. We need to understand. We need to anticipate. We need to be courageous.
And if I may jump, Niels, I'm sorry. It was very interesting what Christian said, and the one thing I would add to that is, if we have all these researches, then we need to implement them too. I remember like 20 or 25 years ago, we had this research about female solo travelers. Maybe you remember that one, that because
Close to the lift.
Women traveled alone, you know, and it came up that we needed, as a receptionist, to attribute rooms nearby the elevator for security reasons. How often did I see that happen? Zero. So yeah, at one point,
it would be probably very easy. Yeah,
yes.
to implement. Yeah, true.
Yeah, look, I think, I mean, and I look at the time, unfortunately, we're running out of it, but it really shows, and I'm happy to see that we concur there. I think maybe we, in our own rights, we need to push a bit harder to have these groups of input and whatever, because it's not, I personally don't think it's right that, you know, just because I put in the money, I can decide what will go into my hotel, because I want it to be a success and I want it to be appealing to a particular group. So to listen to those people. Sample rooms is something, mock-up rooms is something that came up over, I don't know how many years, where we said, how much are they, and are they actually livable? Because often they're just, you know, bolted together somewhere, and no, the taps don't run and you can't have a shower in there. Where I'm saying, create a sample room that is a fully functional room, and create it as soon as possible, so that we can go in there, we can ask guests to go in there.
Spend a couple of nights at the mock-up room.
Absolutely.
Always ask our clients, have you slept yourself in that room? And they're gonna, no, why would I? Like, why would you not? I mean, it's so important. Yeah, spend a couple of nights there, and just experience it, because only then you will find out. Even for me, sometimes it's difficult, you know. They invite me into a mock-up room and they ask me, okay, now what is your feedback? And some things will just not appear to me. Yeah? If I spend there 24 hours, rest assured, I will find things.
Because the view when you're lying horizontally is a different one to when you're standing. It's a different one to when you're sitting and whatever. So, but look, I'm looking forward to more and more and more and more discussions around this, because we now finally got into something, and now we have to give back the microphone back to Giorgio. I thank you very, very much, Monica, Julian, Christian. Thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to re-engaging on that one, and hopefully one day we can look back and say, started with a half an hour in Milan or in Dubai, wherever we are right now, but for Milan. And look where we are. We now have got people who have got basins that are connected, TVs that are plugged in their sample rooms, and doors that actually close. And it's not standing in a hall somewhere, but it's actually in a working place. So thank you very much for that. Sorry we don't have enough time, but rather that way than carrying on and being bored. Thank you, and Giorgio, over to you.
Thank you.
Grazie. Arrivederci.
Ciao. Hello.
Buon pomeriggio, vi avvisiamo gentilmente che la conferenza live riprenderà fra 5 minuti, quindi live di nuovo fra 5 minuti.
È difficile di ritornare dopo alcuni bicchieri di vino, di champagne, ma per favore, please come back. We'll continue with the live program. So take your seat, and we have two very exciting speakers coming up. So don't miss that. We will start in 30 seconds. So please have your seat, and then we will kick it off for the last round. Now, as a short introduction, I'm German, and I'm very sorry for that, but shit happens. But I, as a German, was always surprised that there are no Italian hotel groups or Italian food companies who conquers the world, which conquers the world. Everybody outside of Italy thinks of Italy as a hotbed of fashion, lifestyle, design, beauty, whatever else. But we have seen a lot of international groups coming to Italy, but we hardly have seen many Italian groups going outside. So at this moment, there are very, very few sizable Italian hotel groups, which I think is a shame. Of course, if you want to have a proper hotel group with good quality, it doesn't help to have, it doesn't hurt to have owners which have some liquidity. So I would say, let's say, just to take a random example, Fabrizio, if your group would be owned by an insurance company, would not be bad. Yeah, so you would have some financial means which others don't have. No, and we will have Fabrizio Gaggio from Gruppo Una with us. And not only is it one of the most respectable Italian hotel groups, but I think to a certain degree also one of the more innovative hotel groups. And with this recent project here in Milan, I don't know whether everybody has seen it already, the Milano Verticale, it is a good addition to the marketplace. And we will have, after Fabrizio, also a short speech by Antonio Segura from Radisson Group. He will join us online and will tell us a little bit about the plans of Radisson Group, which among others just opened 5 days ago, a fantastic new hotel in the former touring club. So we have a couple of new options in Milan to have a drink or to have a night's rest. And I'm very happy that Fabrizio will share with us maybe some secrets, maybe some insights, what makes Gruppo Una different and what makes it successful. I know you're a very shy person, but maybe you can share a little bit with us, Fabrizio. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you. First of all, thank you to Michael, thank you to Giorgio and PKF team to invite me, to giving me the chance to me and my group to introduce you what we are currently doing. Gruppo Una is a rather new company on the Italian stage. We have basically changed our brand after the integration and the merge of two brands that are known previously as Ata Hotels and Una Hotels. We currently are managing 46 hotels. We just signed yesterday 2 new hotels management in Rome. One is the Hotel Art in Via Margutta, so really close by to Piazza di Spagna. And the other one is the Hotel Empire in Via Aureliana, really close by to Via Veneto. So, but today I have the chance to introduce you our new flagship in Milan that we recently opened on the 24th of May of this year. Of course, not in the best moment of our life, we can say, but we need to go ahead. We need to go ahead after a strong renovation. So I'm currently introducing you Milano Verticale. Milano Verticale is in this district of the vertical, is the vertical district in Milan. So close by to Corso Como, close by to Gaolenti, so in the middle of the new architecture of the city, where the city has been developed and changed really in these last 10 years, we can say. Is a 4-star hotel, despite it look, and it is 5-star hotels in terms of service and product. We have 173 rooms that are basically in 2 main buildings. One is a tower with a strong view and a fantastic scenario on the verticality of the Gaolenti squares. And the other is a long 3 floors building along Via Rosales. Basically 100-meter linear in Via Rosales, inside where we have our food and beverage solution and 3 floors of rooms. We say vertical. Vertical is really the new place in Milan, the new life in Milan. That's why it looks like a little bit, you know, the new era of this city that is really booming in this moment, despite what is coming, despite what we are suffering in this moment. Okay, the concept of the hotel is basically reminds the view and the concept of the Maestri Architetti Milanese of the 50s and the 60s. We have fantastic marbles, you know, that reminds Joe Ponti and the other masters of time. We have a fantastic view, of course, that opens on the big vertical area of the city, but also in the secret garden that we create. On top of the tower, we have 4 penthouse suites, 4 penthouse suites that have the privilege also to have 4 terraces. You can combine the 4 penthouse suites in just one. So it's one of the largest suite that you can find in Milan, with a fantastic support of, jacuzzi pool, dining area, sofa beds where you can relax, take the sun, and look at the city. What I was mentioning you before was the garden. The garden that basically was previously an old parking of trucks and other things. We bought it, we renovated. It's basically based on a parking, but is 1,000 square meters where you have the chance to have your bar, your drink, your dinner, your events. So every area of the hotel has been studied for be multifunctional, starting from the square facing the hotel up to the garden that can. Currently tonight we will hold for the Salone del Mobile a fantastic marble reunion with the various producers. As you can see in the pictures, there is a really small water line crossing the garden, and all the area of the garden, together with the restaurants, are managed with a partnership with Enrico Bartolini. Enrico Bartolini, probably you know him very well, he is the most renewed Michelin star chef in Italy. With his team and with the chef Franco Liberti, is managing 2 restaurants, the fine dine restaurant Anima, the contemporary restaurant Trattoria Vertigo, and the garden bar that I mentioned you before. The 4 connecting suites, you can see a picture of those. This is just one suite at the 13th floor. We have several meeting rooms. This that you see in the pics is a meeting rooms that basically is on the 4th floor, is 400 square meters, can host open and close reunion. Up above that, you have a fantastic solarium. So also you can join for events and for happening and a new kind of meetings. We currently have the first startup. We made probably the first project in Milan together with a new startup of Politecnico, where we were able to prepare to adopt a new meeting facilities in our meeting rooms, basically connected with highly sophisticated view pictures with the checkboard that you can move matrix style, just to give you an idea. And basically you can connect with 500 people together and having, of course, your meeting with 200 people inside the meeting rooms. This is really one of a kind in Milan so far. So is looking also to the needs that after the pandemic, everybody is currently managing. Of course, we don't have so much space, but we have a strong technology and innovation helping to join our meetings rooms. So I have to say that 3 outlet restaurant, the 3 outlets for food and beverage, the 2 restaurant and the bar, basically are based on the basement of the hotel. Okay, some numbers of the hotel. We have a total surface of 13,000 square meters, the high 40 meters, 173 keys, 20 suites, 207 beds. We have the Piazzetta della Magnolia that is open for any event. We have a rooftop terrace of 500 meters, the 100 meters F&B facility, and 180 restaurant seats. What I'm currently trying, I don't know how to fix this video, but this was the opening video that we launch before the opening. I don't know, I'm asking for help to launch the video because I'm not able to do from here.
Not immensity go where I need to succeed, and a babble of words that are meant to mislead. Time and space, fill the world into today. I need to believe how could what could be seen. All attractive. Should fall centipede.
So this is you have seen from the top the previous pics of the terrace. Now this is the terrace. Okay, we finally opened. This was before the opening. We are very happy to do that. We are very happy of the results. We are very happy of the feedback from the guests. Of course, we need a stronger demand on Milan, but we are sure that with this kind of project, we are really opening a new era for our group. Next steps for us will be the renovation of the current portfolio. We have important flagship even as a leisure destination, such as Capo Tormina. We are already working very strong on a leisure destination such as Forte dei Marmi, exactly Lido di Camaiore, where we have the Un'Esperienza Versilia Lido. And we are looking for new opening in Rome at the end of this year or the first quarter of next year in Trastevere with 96 rooms. So I don't know, Michael, if there is any questions from the public, but I thank you for your time, and I'm at your disposal to welcome you at the Milano Verticale. Thank you.
Grazie. Yep. Okay. Thank you very much. You know, if we get kicked out of this building, so maybe there's another place where we can do such an event in future. Maybe. We will continue now with Antonio Segura. And as I mentioned before, it's another exciting new opening. I don't know whether anybody has already been in the touring club after its reopening, which was 6 days ago. It certainly is a interesting and stunning transformation. And overall, it seems like Radisson is on a big role in terms of developing new products. And Antonio will hopefully tell us a little bit about this property and generally the plans of Radisson in the Italian marketplace. Can we have the link to Antonio now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello to everyone. Nice to be here in this amazing meeting. First, I want to say thank you to PKF for the invitation, also for the opportunity to speak about our company, Radisson Hotel Group. I have one presentation, because I believe that the most important of today is to show you, the big numbers of the company, and later to go through the future openings and new projects. Well, first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Antonio Sancho. I am the responsible from the business development products in EMEA, working in the technical department. And now, please, could you let me know if you are looking at my screen?
Just a moment, I have to see now how it's going.
Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Oh, Radisson Hotel Group from the starting 75 years ago. It's a long, really, it's one company that came from the beginning of the century and was, here is the timeline of the company. And for me, here, what I want to explain to you is 3-4 milestones. Well, the first one, and for me, one of the most important one, was the SAS Hotel Open in Copenhagen. That one, for us, also an architect, for myself also, I studied that one during my period in the career. That one is the first hotel with a design component in the world. That one was, the first vision of the company to create a style always. We are a style and a design company. And after years and years, we were transforming the company, creating new brands, changing the shareholders. But up today, we are always trying to keep, growing and progressing. A general overview of the company is we are in more than 120 countries with more than 1,600 hotels under operation and under development. Currently, this is the figures that we have in the full portfolio. That is, quite amazing, and the company is trying to grow and grow and grow. They are putting all the meat in the barbecue because we want to grow. Currently, for example, just in EMEA, we have more than 150 hotels under development. And one of these hotels, for sure, is the touring club that I will show you later some pictures. But here is the figures that we have in Europe. As you can imagine, only in Europe, we have 85 new developments, plus 40 in Africa and plus 30 in Middle East. These figures later in 2-3 years will become a reality. And now I want to go through new projects and new opening because I believe, the pictures and the renders, they speak easy than the figures. Well, first I want to explain you that I am going to speak about Radisson Collection, Radisson Blue, Red, and Radisson. I am going because I consider that this segmentation is the most important one. I'm also speaking about design is the most trendy one. For us, Radisson Collection, that is our favorite brand, is something exceptional. This, for example, the image that you have in the back is one of the Seven Sisters in Moscow. And we are always making social sense, living design, authentic and local influence, and now transforming that one into the interior design. This is, for example, the Radisson Collection Royal Hotel Copenhagen that opened under a full renovation just 3 years ago, trying to keep the local influence and for sure the Arne Jacobsen influence. Later, for example, this is one of our biggest investment that we are carrying on in the company. Is the Radisson Collection Hotel in Berlin. This hotel is currently under renovation with a full renovation. We are going to create a completely new atmosphere in public areas and in the rooms. Public areas, we are making everything new. Restaurants, bar, reception, and also trying to change the concept. Because for us, we have few points that are quite important, but one of the most important one is take care about our guests. And for example, to create a cozy atmosphere that people wants to be, an attractive bar that people wants to take a drink is really, really important. We are, for sure, we are one of the biggest companies in the world, and it's not so easy to manage the two topics: local influence and local culture together with corporate clients. But we try, and we did our best. That one, for example, is also the Radisson Collection Grand Place in Brussels that was under renovation during the COVID period and now opened just a few months ago with a completely full renovation in the public areas, in the rooms, trying to be the most successful hotel in Brussels. Later, jumping to the touring club. Just opened 5 days ago, and we are so proud about this property. Also for the the location in Milan, the topology of the building, that is an amazing building, and the renovation that we take care together with the developer in this building. For us, it's really important, the growth in Italy and also in Spain. Italy, in just a few years ago, was for us one market with only 3-4 hotels. Currently, we have more than 10, and we opened two more hotels just few days ago, 2-3 days ago. As you can see, the atmosphere that we want to create, respecting the building and the historical that the building and the place has, is quite important. Later, for example, this is also part of our growing in Spain, the same as in Italy, is the Radisson collection in Bilbao. We are trying to do one of the best hotels in Bilbao because we believe that the city needs to have one collection. The same as Seville. We are also this is the rooms, trying to keep a cozy atmosphere in the luxury segmentation. At the same time, we have our new property that recently opened 1 month ago in Seville. Is the collection Magdalena Plaza. I'm going to carry on, don't consume too many time, but also, for example, our Radisson collection hotel in Stockholm. As you can see, all the properties are different. We don't repeat. It's not a copy paste of the interior design. We are trying to make unique space, workable space, different space with the same atmosphere. We want that our guests feel comfortable in this area. Later, our most famous brand, that is Radisson Blu, that is also stylish, and for us it's quite important to keep that one. And what I am going to show you is the different properties. That one is also one property that had a full renovation during the COVID period. And the intention was to create something completely different that will fit in the Spanish market or in the Madrid market, being a cozy place, one area that people wants to go. This is the rooms that also has a full renovation, respecting natural materials and cozy solutions. That one, in the opposite of Europe, is in Stockholm. Is our Radisson Blu Royal Viking. Again, trying to fit in the city, to fit with the local necessities and with the corporate demands. We are trying. One of our main missions is trying to make the public areas the heart of the hotel, and also open that one not only to the guests, also to the external clients. We believe that the local clients are also really important, and we want to have a place fully of life. People working, people speaking, having a coffee, a drink. And for us now, we are making a huge investment in the public areas for that reason. Also in the rooms, we are trying to create natural rooms with neutral colors that people feel the same at home. Also, always trying that it's not easy managing the capex expectations. That one, for example, is one of the that is going to open next year. Is our Radisson Blu in Florence. This is one hotel. It's a meeting and events hotel located close to Florence, and it's going to have a full renovation in the public areas and in the rooms. And again, we want to create something unique that people feel comfortable. Also, we have a really strong demand of the art. For example, you can appreciate the local pictures here of Florence, and also a really strong art here. We consider that it's not only the furniture, it's also the art of what makes the space unique. For example, Radisson is more a neutral and balanced brand. But again, great colors, easy. People need to feel at home. Also, I believe that you can appreciate in the pictures that we have a strong Nordic culture. For example, this is the Radisson Hotel that is going to open in Budapest end of the next year. And you can see again, neutral, respecting, the Nordic culture, but always different. This is the Oslo Center, the airport, and that one is one new property that we recently signed in Kiev. Again, a lot of good storage, making the details, the layers, the natural materials that for us is so important. Now, I want to show you some of the rooms to understand what is our demands. Cozy place, some sitting areas to enjoy and to relax and focus in the art. For sure, also we are one of our missions is to take out the carpets for cleaning reasons and also for comfort reasons. Later, after this, I'm going to explain to you, I want to tell you about our brand Red. This is our most exciting brand. Currently is hitting the market a lot. We are signing and signing and signing projects across Europe and EMEA. And it's the leitmotif is quite special. It's designed with attitude. We believe that we can create millennium hotels, but also one hotel that everyone can go. And today we just started the full renovation that we are going to carry on in Madrid. We are going to make a full renovation with, again, a strong presence of the art and creating social and brave and spaces, public spaces, one area where the people is going to enjoy. Again, the rooms, something really easy, to enjoy, to relax, to feel good. This is, for example, also in this property we are going to have service apartments because we are having a huge, strong demand for long stay, and we are creating these special apartments in that area. That one is another property that is going to open the next year. That is the Radisson Red in Cologne. Again, the atmosphere is unique. The art, that the red is not a color. It's more the attitude. You see the carpets, everything is trying to fit with a lot of design and a lot of influence for the Nordics. Here is our Radisson Red in Tbilisi, in the old town in Georgia. Again, you can see design, style, painful. Here, for example, is the Radisson Red in Liverpool with the same criteria, but never the same furniture. It's always adapting to the local cultures and the local necessities. That one is recently opened, like 6-7 months ago. It's the Radisson Red in Heathrow. It's a dual brand hotel that we have close to the airport with close to 1,000 rooms. And I want to run because I want to show you something that we are implemented in our Reds that is part of our compromise to be real art hotels. Here, this part for me the most enjoy moment and Instagram moment is the sculpture that we are putting in all Reds. For example, this is the one that we recently opened in Silicon in Dubai with a huge falcon. That is something really national and people recognize like a part of the golf corridor. But for example, this is the one Red that we recently opened in Greenwich, London. And again, bulldog, something that is extremely popular in the area. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So this brings us almost to the end. I see Giorgio, who is a very fast runner, coming to the stage. Simone, I can't see, and I'm not sure he's such a fast runner. So, so Giorgio, what is your main conclusion of today?
As we start, Milan is back, no? It seems that was very happy to see so many people and so many friends. This is what we really like to do, and to meet again people and stay together. It's not finished, of course, because the people stay with us today. Of course, we have the opportunity to stay together again.
Yes. And from an investment point of view, we already mentioned today several times that Italy seems to be coming back. Do you see any particular hot areas, both in geography but also in rooms product? Anything? Besides, of course, Sondrio.
No, yes, of course. This is the first choice, of course. No, we mentioned many times about the big four, but as we discussed, we are really focused now on different projects that we show also in different destinations. For instance, could be for leisure, could be Puglia, could be Sardinia, could be Sicily, could be also the countryside, and of course, it's not a joke. Also the mountain, because the mountain, especially for international investor operator, was it's quite difficult. But we start now with Milano Cortina is a great join the Milano with the Cortina, and just to give an idea, in the last 2 years in Cortina, we had more or less 15 different situations, buy hotel, sell hotel, renovation. It was a very, as we can call, all destination now is really focused to change, and will be not only that part of the mountain, but also the rest of the mountain. And this is very nice. That this is the focus, I think, also for the investor. We talk a lot also with them. Of course, big four are always, I mean, on the focus, but not only that destinations, yes, that we call alternative destination. For instance, could be Trieste, that we are working a lot on that. You are really focused, you are really maybe confident in Trieste. And then also, as you know, I'm really a supporter also for a long time is about Trieste. And in that city, we have different situation in the last period. Many brands, international brands, go there, and I think it's a good sign.
So we have new big four: Trieste, Sondrio, Sestri Levante, Noto, or something like that. Okay, let's see. It's interesting because international investors suddenly have to get familiar with not so familiar names for them, and that's interesting. But maybe at the end of our day, a little secret I can share with you. When we look at our global practice, we have hospitality consulting offices in all continents. The fastest growing subsegment of hospitality on a global scale now, but in Europe even more so than in any other continent, is what we call service living, which is actually not a subsegment of hospitality, but it's a crossroads of hospitality and the residential area. So anything from serviced apartment, apart hotels, student accommodation, senior and assisted living, co-living, micro apartments, branded residences. It is our belief that this segment in 5 years from now will be 2 times bigger in terms of new investment volume than the hotel sector alone. So if you are a developer, if you are investor, if you are operator, and you have not considered this subsector, you have to jump quickly on the bandwagon, because this is there's a future to a certain degree. Because the conventional forms of residential apartments and houses are less and less attractive for a younger generation. The young people don't necessarily want to have a house in the suburbs. They may want to live in a co-living environment. So the mixture between hotel services and residential is what we believe a big trend. And even further, the mixing between retail and these new forms of living. We did a brand new concept in Vienna, which is an inner city IKEA, with Joe & Joe's new aqua brand in the hostel sector, in one building in the city center. You cannot drive up to this IKEA anymore, no parking. You cannot buy any furniture. You can just order it and it's delivered to your home. It's the same day. And on top of the IKEA is a hostel. So there are so many changes and interesting changes that it is quite astounding. Finally, some internal changes. Giorgio, I think we can proudly announce that we are moving to new office space in Milan, and that we will end as of 1st of January, a new office in Rome as well. So this is also our commitment to the Italian market. We see growing opportunities, and even so the investment community is centered in northern Italy, in Milan. There are great opportunities also in other parts of Italy.
Absolutely, yes. As you know, is a good point. Is about Rome. As you know, before the holiday we made with our important clients, as we call it, the shopping tour in Rome, and I will be very think is a good market for us in the next year.
Okay,
yes.
So maybe we can ask Simone to join us on stage. Lavoro.
And maybe I would like to thank you, Simone, but also Paolo Bertagni, the manager of the park.
Paolo
online.
I don't know. Here's the camera.
Yes,
Paolo,
the camera,
ciao.
Yes.
We have the fun here, and you have to work behind the computer screen. Sorry for that, but somebody had to do this work. So grazie mille. But Simone, the circumstances were really bad. But you put this whole together again, and so grazie.
It's a pleasure for me. It's a pleasure that PKF relies on events like this. Thank you very much also from me and my studio for the precious contribute for these events.
So, and we will be back in April.
In April, we can sit together, we can stay together another time for discover another possible world. So this is the story.
And the idea we have for next April, if COVID regulations allow, we want to create a spectacular dinner here. We want to have, there will be a restaurant here in these halls. So we want to make a real big show. But for that, we also need your support. So if you have a company in this field, we are desperately looking for sponsors, supporters, give money, give ideas, whatever, but contribute. Giorgio will be more than happy to talk to you or as a team here. It should be a joint effort. So, but from my side, grazie mille, grazie a tutti. Ci vediamo fra 8 mesi.
Grazie. Possiamo switchare in italiano adesso,
sì.
No?
Un altro momento importante adesso, perché Giorgio.
No, io mi sono preso un po' di appunti, così almeno faccio l'introduzione fatta bene. Allora, già cominciano a scorrere un po' le immagini, credo che insomma, dove vai Simone? Stai scappando?
Arrivo.
Va bene, prendo io. Allora, adesso Simone vi racconterà, spero Simone che insomma, i tuoi 30 anni chiaramente non ci abbiamo tanto tempo quindi dovrai anche un pochettino andare di sintesi, perché 30 anni sono insomma una bella scadenza, quindi importante. Il libro è 1990-2020, 30 anni, giusto? Io non ti ho mai raccontato, non ti ho mai detto, lo dico anche a voi, uno dei miei obiettivi, e qua provo un po' di invidia, è scrivere un libro. Certo che quando poi ho visto il tuo libro con 680 pagine ho detto, magari anche più piccolino, no?
Non sono tutte scritte, sono un po' di immagini.
Perché io non ho tutte quelle cose chiaramente belle da raccontare e le cose belle che hai fatto tu. Io però prima di lasciarti poi diciamo alla presentazione del libro ti volevo chiedere una cosa, che è così, perché era una curiosità. Io mi sono letto il libro,